Well, what was that? Thank you anyway for attending this Policy and General Committee meeting on the 24th of August 2022. Is the live streaming started? Yep. Okay, we're off. I wish to welcome everyone to the August meeting of the Policy and General Committee. Standing committees are held as part of the Council meeting process in order for committees to consider reports prepared by Council officers to make recommendations regarding these reports to the monthly Council meeting. Council's delegates on the Policy and General Committee are Mayor Kennedy, Deputy Mayor Hickey, Councillor Orgo, Councillor Bolland, Councillor Brown and Councillor Jewett. The Statement of Ethical Obligations. All councillors undertook an oath or affirmation at the beginning of their term of office and declared to undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Broken Hill local government area and the city of Broken Hill, and that they will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act, to the best of their ability and judgment. Live streaming and recording of this meeting or of meetings. This committee meeting is being live streamed via YouTube and recorded and published online via Council's website. To those present in the meeting today, by attending in this public meeting, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. The chairperson and or general manager have the authority to pause the live stream if comments or debate are considered defamatory or otherwise inappropriate for publishing. Participants are advised that they may be subject to legal action if they engage in unlawful behaviour or commentary. Can we have apologies? Mayor Kennedy is an apology. Is there any other apologies? Can we have a mover for Mayor Kennedy? Moved, Councillor Hickey. Seconded, Councillor Boland. All those in favour? Carried. Item 3 is leave of absence. There are no leave of absence. Now we haven't got. Can somebody read the prayer? Might have to double up. Marion might.
I've got it in front of me. Do you want to do it? Okay, I'll deliver the prayer. Almighty God, we ask you to invoke your blessing upon this council, direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement and true welfare of the people of the council area, our state and Australia. Amen.
Thanks, Councillor Bolland. The acknowledgement of the country.
I've been called on to do that.
Marion, would you like to do that?
We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Thanks, Councillor Brown. Can we have Councillor Hickey, Deputy Mayor Hickey, to read the acknowledgement of Broken Hill's mining history?
We take time to reflect, remember and honour the 800 miners that lost their lives and those that were crippled or maimed on the line of load. We thank the brave miners and their wives who were part of the 1919-1920 strike and lasted over 500 days and delivered a 35-hour working week. Mining is our past and our future.
Thanks, Councillor Hickey. Now we move on to the minutes for confirmation. The minutes of the Policy and General Committee meeting held Wednesday, June the 15th, 2022. Can we have a mover that the minutes would be confirmed? Move, Councillor Brown. Seconded, Councillor Bolland. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Disclosures of interest. Are there any disclosures of interest in item 8? No disclosures of interest. We move on to item 9, the reports. First report is the Broken Hill City Council report number 176/22, dated July the 28th, 2022, childcare availability in Broken Hill. And the recommendation for those who may be watching on YouTube, the recommendation is that the Broken Hill City Council the Broken Hill City Council report number 176/22, dated July the 28th, 2022 be received. 2, that the Policy and General Committee reviews the correspondence that was presented to the July Council meeting from the Minister for Early Childhood Education to determine the future direction of any advocacy and correspondence in relation to the childcare availability in the city. And in terms of the report, if the councillors have probably read the report, and they'd be aware of the discussion that was held back in at the previous meeting, July meeting of the council. There's a dire need, there's a dire shortage of places for childcare in Broken Hill, and significant waiting lists at some of the organisations that do provide the service. And given that the city is hopeful of having many more residents, locate in Broken Hill in terms of, the mining industry and others, childcare is going to be an important component of the council's concern. And at this stage, I'll leave it open to the councillors to discuss what their views are.
I will move the recommendation as written, and I note in the report, Broken Hill City Council report number 71/22, there's a significant amount of children waiting for a place or looking for a place, and there's very little, there's no numbers available. I've just found the data. Now, the Childcare Centre Snapshot report, there's currently 275 places available, and there's approximately 1,373 children aged between 5 to 11 who could access the 120 available outside school hour care places. So that is a significant shortfall. That's not even a small shortfall. I mean, it's massive shortfall, and it will begin to affect the economy of the city.
Before you go on, Councillor Boland, can
Yep.
we have a seconder? Councillor Hickey. Yeah, continue, Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Chair. It'll begin to, I mean, it's already affecting the economy of the city through services. Obviously, there's a lot of exciting mining projects coming online, and our current mining is looking strong as well. But we need people that can service the employees that work at those places. And childcare is a very, very important part of having front-facing service staff and that of the like across the city. So this is a big issue. I'm not sure how the new federal government plans on fixing it, but from what I can see, the education requirements is quite a lot of education requirements or certificates to have to become a childcare teacher, and there needs to be a diploma person on site and et cetera. So this is becoming a shortage of skilled labour as well as training opportunities.
Thanks. Are there any further speakers? I might ask the General Manager to, in the recommendation, it's to determine the future direction of any advocacy and correspondence in relation. I'll ask the general manager his opinion about what the next step might be.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I think obviously it's just got to be kept on centre of attention with all state ministers and federal ministers, but more importantly, the body of work that we're currently doing at the moment around a livability and housing strategy, but that focus on livability around the requirements for childcare and really having that advocacy push from a local level that integrates with the state livability strategy that they're looking at reviewing at the end of this year, and just making sure that we actually align that and ensure that any funding in the city is then brought towards it. There's a skilled, obviously there's a skill gap that the entire country's grappling with at the moment, and how we can actually attract those skilled workers being in childcare, because there is vacant land and other buildings that can be utilised for childcare. It's about actually bringing those out to the city. So it's really around that advocacy piece that I think council's efforts need to be focused at the moment, because there's other avenues, and aligning to the stated objectives.
Thanks, Mr. General Manager. So I gauge on that we leave it to management to continue to pursue, along with many other things.
Yes, and we'll obviously keep you abreast of those items, but and the mayor and the councillors obviously pushing that to the ministers at every opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. Any further speakers?
Yeah, if I could, Mr. Chair, just the general manager and myself and the mayor have had discussions with numerous people throughout the course to try and get someone, but we've run into a few hurdles with it because of this training of somebody to run them. There's numerous people would start one, but they can't get anyone to run them, and that's going to be the biggest struggle. And I know we've had one DA approved, but it's got a 5-year lifespan. So whether it's taken up or not is another thing. Yeah. But they'd be another one that's got to have someone that can run it. We have spoken to another party, but it's fairly confidential at this stage. But again, the same problems arise to try and get the right spot to be able to do it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Councillor Higgins. Any further, Councillor Brown?
Yes, I'm wondering, and I know that Foundation Broken Hill, that Travis Nadge, well, I assume that he's still got his eye on this, even though he's presented that report. I wonder if they've had any discussions with, the future major employers. I know in larger centres, large employers often have childcare facilities, in their own business, as part of their own business. Now, I don't know, whether they're going to be faced with the problem of attracting staff. And I know that they'll come up against the same issue of finding skilled people to not only to run it, but also to staff it, given that this is one of the areas of chronically low pay, and a lot of the trained childcare who are trained in early childhood, if they're going to make twice as much working in the school, that's where they're going to be. But I assume that he's probably had a look at that. There's also, maybe the schools themselves, the primary schools, because they have these days they have sort of out of school hours sort of centres mainly to cater for kids, whose parents work and so on. Now, I don't know whether there's any potential there. I mean, given that it's in everyone stands to gain by being able to attract, qualified people to the city, whether they've been involved with it, possibly they can expand their services. Maybe there are teachers, early childhood teachers who would be, I just don't know what the possibilities are, but, because everyone's so desperate for this, maybe there are some other avenues we could try. And I assume people are keeping an eye on the that round of grants that the minister mentioned in her correspondence as well, that hadn't been there. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Brown. I'm sure the general manager taking all that in. The low paid positions is one of the keys. You're paying people peanuts to look after your most precious possessions. And it's just ridiculous. It's the same as nursing homes. But anyway, can we have a vote on that? All in favour? Carried unanimous. We move on to, there's no item number on this one. Broken Hill City Council report number 177/22, dated August the 1st, 2022. Review of Council's Code of Meeting Practice to permit councillor attendance via audio link at standing committee meetings and council meetings. And the recommendation for those who are not in attendance is that the Broken Hill City Council report 177/22, dated August the 1st, 2022 be received, that the council determines whether amendments to be made to the Code of Meeting Practice policy to permit attendance by councillors at committee meetings and council meetings via audio visual link. Councillors?
Mr. Chair, I'll move that waiver with amendment to number 2 of that to read that no changes be made to the Code of Meeting Practice policy to permit attendance of councillors by video link.
Okay, so delete item 2
To determine
the recommendation
and no changes to be made.
and replace it with that no changes be made.
Yep.
Can we have a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Speakers against? Speakers against, Councillor Brown?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I think would not be, I don't believe it would be a wise decision not to allow attendance via audio visual link. I mean, I can't see what the problem would be. I mean, what's in the optional area of the draft Code of Meeting Practice makes it clear that it can't just be done on a whim, any attendance. If we adopt that clause, it has to be acceptable to the council and for a valid reason. So I have to admit, I don't understand the reasoning behind knocking this back. I think, we've all become comfortable with the technology. I just don't understand why we don't keep it there. It's not going to encourage, given that it's not going to be, just available on a whim. I just can't see why we wouldn't adopt this.
Would you like to move an amendment, Councillor Brown?
Well, my amendment would be that we do include that to change the Code of Meeting Practice in line with the clauses in the model policy, because they seem to me to be, very carefully written and sensible.
Can we have a seconder for the amendment? Seconder for the amendment? No seconder, the amendment lapses. The right of reply? Councillor Hickey, if you wish.
Only that I just feel that it makes everybody make the effort to get here, that, and it's not, I know you say without a whim, but quite often if you can't get here, it happens on a whim. It happens right that day when you can't get in. You might, for some unfortunate reason, like last night, I was bogged out in the bush, and but I couldn't get here. But then, so therefore, I'm not here. But I don't think video links called for that reason. Thank you.
Okay. Any further speakers? Councillor Boland.
Just make a comment. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's important that councillors attend in person. I think our community and the people that voted for us expect us to be here in person. I'm certainly a busy person with lots of hats on and do lots of different things through my day job and through chairing of other organisations. And I always set my month around the council meetings and my council commitments, because that's why I put my hand up and ran for council, and I believe that the community has expectations that if you put your hand up, you make the time to actually be here in person. And I think robust debate needs we need to be together and in the same room. I think it generates better, more robust debate, which ultimately leads to better decisions for the community and Broken Hill. So for that reason, that's why I support Councillor or Deputy Mayor Hickey's amendment to the recommendation for that exact reason.
Any further speakers? I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Councillor Boland, Councillor Hickey, Councillor Allgate, and pardon? No, the amendment lapsed. It didn't have a seconder. And Councillor Brown against. Item 3 of the reports, Broken Hill City Council report number 178/22, dated August the 18th, 2022. Public interest disclosures annual report for the year 21-22. The recommendation being that the Broken Hill City Council report 178/22, dated August the 18th, 2022, be received. That the Broken Hill City Council Public Interest Disclosures Annual Report 21/22 be forwarded to the Minister for Local Government and the New South Wales Ombudsman by the 30th of October 2022. Can I have a mover?
I move the recommendation as written.
Move Councillor Boland. Seconded.
I'll second that.
Councillor Hickey. Speakers against? Speakers for? Put it to a vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimous. Item 4 in the reports, Broken Hill City Council report number 179/22, dated the 29th July the 29th, 2022, the draft public art policy. The recommendation being that the Broken Hill City Council report number 179/22, dated July 29, 2022, be received, that the council adopt the draft public art policy to include minor amendments as outlined in this report. Have a mover.
I move the recommendation as written.
Move Councillor Boland. Seconded Councillor Brown. Speakers, well, against, won't be any speakers against. Speakers for? You'll write a reply if you.
Just make a comment, Mr. Chair.
Yes, certainly.
I think this is a common sense change or recommendation. And first of all, thanks has to go to the committee that reviews these beforehand as well, but ultimately councillors are the elected officials of the community, and I think definitely the final decision needs to lay with councillors, because ultimately if we feel the committee has made a wrong decision, we're the ones that will wear the ratepayers or the community, should I say. So for me, this is a sensible adjustment and changes to the policy to allow the final approval to be in the hands of the elected officials of the community.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Any further speakers or comments? I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimous. Item 5, the Broken Hill City Council report number 181/22, dated July the 22nd, 2022 to 2017 to 2021 Disability Inclusion Plan, final key performance indicators, progress report for the period ending June the 30th, 2022. The recommendation is that the Broken Hill City Council report number 181/22 dated July 22, 2022 be received. Item 2, that council note the 2017 to 2021 Disability Inclusion Action Plan, final key performance indicators, progress report for the reporting period ending the 30th of June 2022. Item 3, that the 2017 to 2021 Disability Inclusion Action Plan, final key performance indicators, progress report for the reporting period ending 30th of June 2022 be placed on council's website. Can we have a mover?
Move that way.
Move
No
councillor-
amendments.
Move councillor Hickey. Seconder, councillor Brown. Speakers?
Fairly self-explanatory, thanks.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, I just have a question. The update, I noticed they've done an excellent job. The off-track ones, let me just bring up the correct report so I'm looking at the right thing. 69 completed, excellent job, and the 7 under monitor. What's the update on the 2 that are off track? I've lost one of them, but I know one of them is the website, I believe, needs to be updated to include the disability inclusion for tourism. I was just wondering what the where we're at with the off-track items. That I can only find one right now. My apologies.
I'll pass it over to the general manager for comment.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, through you. Both actually relate to the tourism and council and the council website. They've been included in this year's operational plan for 2022 and 2023. But a progress update is that council is in the process of taking the website back in-house with our current provider, as opposed to how we're operating the tourism website, and that's fully disability accessible and meets all the accessibility requirements. So we're thinking, by the end of this calendar year, that action will be complete.
Thank you. Does that
Turn my microphone on. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and also I'm guessing that will include the wayfinding that we spoke about a couple of committees ago.
Yeah, okay. Speakers against? No further speakers. Put it to a vote. Unanimous. Item 6. The Broken Hill City Council report number 182/22 dated August the 3rd, 2022 to 2021, 2022 delivery program inclusive of operational plan 21-22. Outcomes, final key performance indicators, progress report for the period ending 30th of June. And the recommendation is that the Broken Hill City Council report number 182/22 dated August the 3rd, 2022 be received. That the council receive the 2021-22 delivery program inclusive of the 2021-22 operational plan outcomes, final key performance indicators, progress report for the period ending the 30th of June 2022. And at item 3, that the 2021-2022 delivery program inclusive of the 2021-2022 operational plan outcomes, final key performance indicators, progress report for the period ending 30th of June 2022 be placed on council's website. I think that's fairly straightforward. Can we have a mover? Move councillor Brown. Seconded. Councillor Bolland. Speak to it, Councillor Brown.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just had a couple of questions. I mean, this is dated almost a month ago, just a few things I just wondered about. There's a note about the heritage the Heritage Festival, the Heritage Committee has met since then, and the decision there was that the Heritage Festival would go ahead each Easter as it has previously. I think so. I mean, I know this would be updated in the next one, but I just sort of wanted to make that point. And there was also a mention of the volunteer working group, and there was a note that waiting for a meeting for that, but there's no meeting has yet been called. I've asked about that numerous times, and there's still no meeting.
Mr. General Manager, response regarding the meeting?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Through you, I'll take that on notice and we'll have that meeting set up. Apologies for that.
If just to add a note to that, I mean, there is a bit of urgency because I understand, well, according to this, planning's underway for the, the major sort of volunteer event, which is the after the high tea or the dinner or whatever it is that's decided. And we did have the previous committee did have, some thoughts about that and some potential planning. And I think there might have even been a potential date, which is long past now. So it's almost getting, I don't know, I hope it's not too late in the year to do that, but it's kind of out of the cycle of the, the volunteer awards and so on. We've had, no discussion about the council's volunteer awards or that sort of thing. So I think, it's fairly important that we have something sometime.
Okay. Anything further?
Yeah, just the other question was about Warnock Street. Again, that's something that Councillor Orgate will be aware has been talked about for about 25 years, 30 years or something. And I note from this that the request for a tender would have closed last week sometime. Has there been any, given a lot of these other projects don't seem to have attracted any interest? I just wondered whether anyone.
Councillor.
Sorry, Mr.
General Manager.
General Manager, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I was just curious. And I just sort of, when I thought about it and I wrote it down, otherwise I would have forgotten to ask.
Yes, no, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just obviously these comments are as at the 30th of June. So there has been some progress made on that, and council adopted the budget for the detailed designs of Warnock Street for this financial year. So that tender has gone out and has closed. We did appoint a firm to carry out those detailed designs, which was Tonkin Proprietary Limited. So they're working through stage one of that concept from the concept plans that we completed last year with the master plans. They're working through stage one, which will include the upgrades to the garage and the workshop and some of the other smaller amenities. And then that will come back to council for consideration for the 23-24 capital budget for actual construction work. So that one is progressing along nicely, and I know that the staff are very pleased that that project is actually happening this time around.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Any further comment? No further comment. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 7, Broken Hill City Council Report number 183/22, dated August the 10th, 2022. Budget carryovers, the year 2021-22. The recommendation that the Broken Hill City Council Report number 183/22, dated August the 10th, 2022, be received. That the council revote the budget items as listed in table 1 for the amount of $143,700. That the council, in item 3, that the council note the carryover budget items as listed below in table 2 for the amount of $23,328,537. Can we have a mover? Move, Councillor Brown. Seconded, Councillor Hickey. Speakers for or against? No. I might just add the comment, which I do traditionally, and that is that I can recall, and I'm sure Councillor Brown and Councillor Turley would would recall the scathing criticism we've had at odd times from the Office of Local Government and the auditors for occasions when the council had carryovers of $2 and $3 million, that was not acceptable. And now we're talking about $23 million. But I understand, as the general manager pointed out at several meetings prior to this one, that a lot of the monies, they've not been able, they're sort of, the workers, some hasn't been started, some has been started and not finished, so it's carrying over to the next year. There's a sensible explanation, but I always wonder why we were attacked quite severely going back 10 or 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and for $2 or $3 million in carryovers, and now $23 million is all right, even though the explanation is fine. It just seems it flies, it just seems crazy. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 8. Broken Hill City Council Report number 184/22 dated August the 2nd, 2022. Investment Strategy and Portfolio Review for 2021-2022. The recommendation is that the Broken Hill City Council Report number 184/22 dated August the 2nd be received. Can we have a mover?
I'll move the report. I'll move as written.
Move Councillor Boland. Seconded. Councillor Hickey. Speakers for, speakers against. Speakers for. Councillor Boland.
Turn a microphone on, would be handy. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just reviewing it, I won't bore everybody to death because I could probably talk on this for 4 hours, but I won't. I'll go straight to the investment strategy recommendation. Just wondering the thought pattern behind the investments in the bond market with the long dated floating rate notes. I just have flashbacks to GFC when I see floating bond rates and that kind of stuff. But I mean, ultimately, the interest rates are heading up, and there's money, and the banks are funding as well. The banks are raising funds, as said there. So I'm just wondering the thought pattern behind the investment strategy, and obviously reviewing it. The council has a very risk diverse investment strategy, which is good for an organisation like this. So I was just curious around, or not curious, just inquiring around the strategy, the investment recommendation strategy.
Would you like the Chief Financial Officer to comment?
Yes, through you, Chair, that'd be great.
Simon?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the overall, the strategy has been obviously with the volatility in the market over the recent times. We've had that exposure through the T Corp Medium Growth Fund to have some exposure there to the market and over that medium term. But the overall, on the whole, has been we've made use of those high interest savings accounts, and at the moment moving more into those term deposits as the interest rates improve on those and become more attractive. So, but yeah, as it says in the report, having that well-diversified portfolio to spread the risk.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further comments or questions or speakers? No? All those in favour? Carried unanimous. Item 9, Broken Hill City Council Report number 185/22 dated August the 15th, 2022. Investment report for July 2022. The recommendation being item 1, that the Broken Hill City Council Report number 185/22 dated August the 15th, 2022 be received. Do we have a mover?
I'll move that as written.
Move Councillor Boland. Seconder, Councillor Hickey. No speakers against. Speak, Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, just reading through it, as the Chief Financial Officer mentioned, it's a diverse portfolio. With interest, I read the interest rates that the expectations are down to 3.25% from 3.5% by the end of the financial year. It's out in business, I've certainly noticed that the inflation is starting to level out a little bit. And I think the interest rates, I think that's spot on with the interest rates. Other than that, it's a pretty good performing portfolio in the current environment when you've got China in lockdown and obviously some issues in Europe as well.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Bond. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 10, Broken Hill City Council Report number 186/22. Dated August the 15th, 2022. Memorandum of Understanding, AFL Broken Hill and Broken Hill City Council. The recommendation is to item 1, that the Broken Hill City Council Report number 186/22 dated August the 15th, 2022 be received, that the General Manager be authorised to negotiate and execute a memorandum of understanding for a period of 2 years with the AFL Broken Hill. Item 3, that the Council authorise the General Manager to include in the memorandum of understanding financial assistance grants of $10,000 per annum. Do we have a mover for that?
I'll move that way. No amendments.
Move, Councillor Hickey. Seconder. Councillor Boland. Speakers against? Speakers for? Councillor Boland, Councillor Hickey, I mean.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman, I'll just ask the General Manager if he could just speak on that one. He met with the Mayor and Andrew Schmidt.
Okay, thank you. Put it to a vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimous. Item 11, Broken Hill City Council Report number 187/22 dated August the 4th, 2022, re-establishment of the E.T. Lamb Memorial Oval Community Committee and committee nominations. The recommendation being that the Broken Hill City Council Report number 187/22 dated August the 4th, 2022 be received. Item 2, that Council re-establish the E.T. Lamb Memorial Oval Community Committee. Item 3, that the Council appoints at least one councillor representative to the E.T. Lamb Memorial Oval Community Committee. 4, that the user groups of the E.T. Lamb Memorial Oval and community representatives continue to be encouraged to consider an interest in joining the community committee to achieve the required number of members stated in the Constitution and for effective management of the asset. Item 5, that Council appoints Mr. Dean Meadows, Mr. Luke Driscoll, Mr. Ross Morris, Mr. Des Rumble, and Mr. Lyndon Pace as community representatives of the E.T. Lamb Memorial Oval Community Committee, subject to the Council resolving to re-establish the committee. Do we have a mover for that?
I'll move as written.
Councillor Brown. Councillor Brown. Seconded. Councillor Boland. No speakers against? Speak for?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, not really speak for, but just clarifying one element of that. I assume the appointment of the councillor rep will be left to the council meeting. Oh, unless, I don't know.
I think that'll
someone
be
got
the
an idea.
appropriate way so that everybody.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I just want to clarify that so
Yeah.
it's not forgotten on the night, I suppose,
Yeah.
that we do appoint
Well,
someone.
that same recommendation will go to the council meeting, so
Yep.
it'll be left to the meeting to decide. I think it's a good thing because that is a good oval and it's a fairly well utilised oval. It used to be. Let's hope it can be built back to to its glory days. All those in favour? Unanimous. Item 12. Broken Hill City Council Report 188/22 dated July the 27th, 2022. The minutes of the meeting of the Broken Hill Heritage Committee Annual General Meeting held the 25th of July, 2022. Recommendation being that the Broken Hill City Council Report number 188/22 dated July 27, 2022 be received. Item 2, that the minutes of the Broken Hill Heritage Committee Annual General Meeting held 25th of July 2022 be received. We have a mover for that. Councillor Brown. Seconder. Councillor Bolland. Speak to it, Councillor Brown.
No, Mr. Chair.
No, okay. No speakers against? Put it to a vote. All those in favour? Unanimous? Carried unanimous. Call for a motion to move into council closed session. Can we have somebody move that the... Pardon? Oh, there's no confidentials. Sorry. No confidential, so there's no need for that. No confidential matters. Close the meeting of this policy and general meeting at 6:18 p.m.